Hey, I'm on Weight Watchers, and this is what I eat today. Today's Friday, which is the day I go get my dad, and we hang out together, and then my mom will come over for dinner. So I may not show, it might not be as much of a vlog as much as it is me telling you what I ate after the fact. So I picked up my dad. I asked him what he wanted to eat today. He wanted Bojangles, which is not ideal for Weight Watchers. But I did get a bacon, egg, and cheese biscuit, which was 17 points. We're having quesadillas tonight, which are like the buffalo chicken tacos I made, but I'm gonna make them quesadilla form. So that's gonna be pretty point friendly. We'll see how we do. I have a lot of 0-point snacks in the house, or really low point snacks. So I think I'll be okay, but not the best start to the day. It is what it is. So yeah, that was 17 points, and I'm trying to do quick math in my head, but I'm just gonna pull up the app. And look, 7 points left for the day. It's not undoable, it's just not ideal. So that was just a little time lapse of what my dad and I did today. He really likes helping me with quilts, and I really appreciate his help because my least favorite part of quilting is pressing the seams, and he does a really great job at it. So we are a quilting pair. Tonight for dinner, we had chicken quesadillas. This is similar to the buffalo chicken tacos I made the other night. I'll link that video below. But my parents don't like spicy foods, so I did a chicken bacon ranch. But I didn't have any pre-cooked chicken on hand, so I had to cook it. You guys know how I cook this chicken. It is salt, pepper, garlic powder, onion powder, parsley, and olive oil. You season both sides. You cook it in a 400-degree oven for 20 minutes or 10 minutes on each side. And if you put it in a cold oven, do your timer for 15 minutes, then flip your chicken and cook it for 10 because it takes about 5 minutes for the oven to preheat. So, while my chicken was cooking, I did go ahead and get the dough together because I'm making homemade tortillas because we're fancy here and it's so easy. So I did a cup of flour, all-purpose flour, 2/3 cup of non-fat plain Greek yogurt, a tablespoon of butter, some garlic powder, and about 2 tablespoons of Parmesan cheese. And then I mixed it all together until it formed a dough ball. Also, by this point, you can probably tell that I did do something a little different with my editing this time. I got some pretty constructive feedback from a viewer that I shouldn't speed up my videos so much and that you guys aren't loving that feel. So shout out Karen. Thank you for letting me know. This original video was like an hour and 15 minutes. I think I cut it down to about 10 minutes, but I did that by just cutting out a lot of standing around the kitchen, or if I repeated a step, like you saw me season one half of the chicken, but not the other. Things like that, I just kind of cut out so that it could be a semi-normal speed. I did have to speed everything up double, and then like this clip that you're watching right now of me just doing the dough over and over, like some of the more repetitive actions, I sped up to 4 times the speed. So at this point in cooking, my timer had gone off, so it was time to flip my chicken and stick it back in the oven for 10 more minutes, and then right back to my dough. And at this point, once it was formed into one like lump, I guess, I floured my countertop and rolled it into a ball and got it on the counter in like as even of a ball as I could, because then I sliced it kind of like you would a pie into 8 even pieces, so that we'll have 8 quesadillas tonight. So I rolled out my first quesadilla while I was waiting for the chicken to finish cooking, and after I had cut it into the 8 even slices. I will say I wasn't too fussy about the shape of it. In a perfect world, it would be a perfect circle. I am thinking about ordering a tortilla press because it seems like this is going to be a go-to recipe for us. And if you've been around here for any length of time, you know once I get hooked on a recipe, I'm hooked. And this is a great recipe too because there's a lot of flexibility. I don't think I've even begun to scratch the surface of options of flavors for these quesadillas. So I am super, super excited for that. But anyway, I was trying not to be too fussy as long as it was a circular shape and as long as both ends were wide enough that I would be able to put some chicken and like the filling in there, then I said it was good enough. And then as I got better at making, the 8 tortillas, they started looking like prettier and prettier circles. Another cool thing that I did with tonight's recipe that I don't usually do is I actually built the recipe in MyFitnessPal so that I can share the macros. My parents are trying to eat healthier as well. They are not on Weight Watchers. They're just trying to generally eat healthy. So my mom was curious about the nutrition facts, and I remembered that I had the MyFitnessPal app on my phone. And you can do this with the free version of it. You don't have to have the premium version, which I do not have because I pay for Weight Watchers and paying for both seemed like insanity. So this is 5 points on Weight Watchers, but it is also 251 calories. It has 9.6 grams of fat, 14.6 grams of carbs, and then 25.4 grams of protein. So lots of protein in this one. If you guys want to know that information in the future, definitely let me know. I am going to try and add it to a couple more videos. I just don't want to make any promises. So just long story short, I am pretty busy outside of this, and my YouTube channel, the YouTube side of it, is kind of my lowest priority. Jeez, I don't know why I can't talk all of a sudden. So if I have time, I will definitely add that. I don't want to make any promises. But if I ever make a recipe and you're like, man, I really wish you had included that, just leave a comment. Be nice about it, please. But leave a comment and I will do my best to create it in MyFitnessPal and get that information to you. But also, if you don't want to wait on me, you can download the MyFitnessPal app and create the recipe there yourself and see what the calories and micronutrients are for it. So after all that rambling, we are caught up to real time what I'm doing. I got my chicken out of the oven once it was done. I just shredded it with forks today instead of bringing out the mixer and stuff just because I was slowly running out of counter space since I had that tortilla already pre-rolled. But yeah, I shredded up the chicken. I transferred it to a frying pan, and I am adding in 2 ounces of the 1/3 less fat cream cheese and a little bit of the ranch seasoning out of the little shaky jar that they sell in the grocery store. And then I am just going to mix that together until the cream cheese melts and the chicken starts to have a creamy glaze to it almost, if that makes sense. Last time I made the taco version of this, I used the cast iron skillet, but I didn't feel like dealing with that tonight. It's really heavy and you gotta clean it differently, separately from everything else, and you gotta re-season it every time, and it's just, I don't know, I just didn't feel like dealing with that. So I used a regular frying pan, and to be honest with you, I actually liked using the regular frying pan more, which usually I like using my skillet better, but there you go. Tortillas, I like using the regular frying pan more. And then just like with pancakes, the first one takes the longest, and it doesn't ever turn out the best. I put a little bit too much olive oil in my pan. My pan's on medium, by the way. I put a little too much olive oil in my pan, and of course it's a flour tortilla, so it sucked up all the olive oil. And you'll see when I flip it over that it's a little yellow looking, and that the little brown dots like that are usually on a tortilla are not quite as brown. They're more golden. It's not the vibe, basically. But once it was cooked, I flipped it and added my filling because it only takes about 30 seconds on each side to cook. So I added a little bit of chicken, and I'm using in each quesadilla 2/3 of a pre-cooked bacon strip, the kind you get in the box, like the Oscar Mayer kind, but I use Kroger brand because it's cheaper. And then the reduced fat Mexican blend cheese that I use all the time, and then I dripped in a little bit of ranch dressing, and then folded over like a quesadilla, let that sit for a few more seconds, and then I flipped it again for about 30 seconds, and then just to keep everything warm, I put it in the microwave. I didn't start the microwave or anything, just, microwaves are insulated, so it does a really good job of keeping your food warm. If my oven wasn't already so hot from cooking the chicken, I definitely would have just put my oven on 175 and thrown them in there, but it was at 400 degrees still from cooking the chicken, so a little too warm to keep food warm. And then that's the routine for the rest of the tortillas. You put one in the pan, and while that cooks, it literally takes 30 seconds to a minute to cook the first side of it. You can roll out your next tortilla and have it ready to go. And then you flip it over, add the filling and all of the toppings, make it into a quesadilla, and then cook it about 30 seconds on each side so it gets nice and golden brown and the cheese gets super melty inside. Add your little, you would have added your little drizzle of ranch dressing before you folded it over, but yeah, and then put it in the microwave, and then you just kind of lather, rinse, repeat, and that is how easy these quesadillas with homemade tortillas are. I did want to make one more call out about the ranch dressing that I'm using. So usually when you do homemade ranch dressing, the packet calls for a cup of mayonnaise and a cup of buttermilk, and then you add in the packet of ranch. I wanted to see what it would taste like if I did a cup of non-fat Greek yogurt instead of the mayonnaise and a cup of buttermilk, and what that would be like points-wise. Points-wise, it's great. It's the lowest point ranch dressing I've ever seen or heard of. However, taste-wise, I don't know. It is missing a little something. You definitely miss the fat in it. And I also don't like Greek yogurt. And it has a little bit of a dry taste to it. But what I did to test out the recipe, because I didn't want to waste an entire cup of it, a cup of Greek yogurt with a cup of buttermilk and an entire packet, I did a 1/4 cup of buttermilk and a 1/4 cup of yogurt with a little bit of the ranch seasoning out of the jar instead of the packet, which I usually use the home-style buttermilk ranch packet, and I think the ranch in the jar is a slightly different formula of ranch, I guess. I don't know. And I've had this all week. I used it. I made these chicken bacon ranch tacos for lunch one day this week. So I used it in that, and I knew it was really good in this recipe. And then I, dipped some celery in it, and it was okay. It definitely didn't have that Greek yogurt flavor. I hate the taste of Greek yogurt. So it was okay. I did run out in this recipe, so if you see the 2 bottles of Hidden Valley on the counter, that's why. But I think next time I make it, I'm gonna do the buttermilk and then 1 part, so half a cup of mayonnaise and half a cup of non-fat Greek yogurt, and see if that adds that little bit of a kick it's missing, because I don't think that I would, outside of this recipe, I don't think that I would love that like as a salad dressing. So yeah, I'm just experimenting and trying to get low point ranch dressing. I think, as we all are, because who doesn't love ranch? But it's one of the worst dressings that you can have, probably on any diet. So there you go. And those are my quesadillas with homemade tortillas. I don't think that we've even begun to scratch the surface of flavor combinations for these things yet, so stay tuned. All right, we are getting ready for bed, but I wanted to kind of pop on and film a like recap of the day. So, this morning I woke up, let the dogs outside, went and picked up my dad. We get breakfast slash lunch together. It's usually like 11 o'clock when I get him. And he wanted Bojangles, which is like, there was nothing good on Weight Watchers at Bojangles, so I just got a bacon, egg, and cheese biscuit for 17 points. And then we worked on a quilt together. Then we watched some Big Bang Theory. It's my dad's favorite show. We're watching it from start to finish. And he wanted a little something to snack on while we watched that. So I got him some goldfish crackers, but I made me a big bowl of that 0 point popcorn that I made. I'll link the video with that recipe below as well. And then we just hung out some more, and then my mom came over, and that's what we had for dinner was the chicken bacon ranch quesadillas. I had one quesadilla and some cucumbers with tahini, and that was 5 points for dinner, which leaves me with 2 points for the day. Somehow I have 2 points left at the end of the day after eating freaking 17 points for breakfast. But yeah, it was a good day as far as like hanging out with family and spending time with my dad, and my mom and my dad really liked the chicken bacon ranch quesadillas, which I feel so fancy every time I make those. And it's not even the quesadilla, it's the tortilla. And making the tortilla, and like the second you flip it over and you see those little brown spots, and you're like, that's a tortilla. I just made a tortilla. Like, this is, like, before, I don't know, like a month ago maybe, I would have never thought to make a tortilla. I would just buy a grocery store tortilla. So that's like, I feel so fancy, like so legitimate now. I told my husband, I was like, I might write a cookbook one day. Because I don't know why. Anyway, they're so much fun to make, and it is so like rewarding and satisfying, and like the confidence that I have in the kitchen when I make homemade freaking tortillas is unmatched. So anyway, that was my day. I will check in with you guys in the morning after I weigh in, and yeah, see you in like 2 seconds. Good morning, happy Saturday. I just weighed in. I gained 0.2 of a pound. I'm starting to think I will never lose 25 pounds, and that I am just bound to be at 24 pounds lost, and I'm the weight that I'm going to be the rest of my life, which is kind of fine. Like, I don't know. Whatever. Sorry to end on a downer. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more like it, go ahead and subscribe. I post lots of videos like this all the time.